Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Starting Line. I'm your host, Sarah Allen. Time is ticking for representatives to get their bills heard by all relevant House committees. March 15th is the deadline for committees to act favorably on House bills. Many bills have already been laid over for possible inclusion into omnibus bills.
We will lay over House File 247 for possible inclusion.
I am going to lay House File 763 over for possible inclusion in the Jobs and Economic Development Omnibus Bill.
This week's Starting Line looks at House File 1090, a bill that would require the Minnesota State Lottery to install electronic lottery terminals at gas pumps at any convenience store in the state. We sit down with the bill's sponsor, Representative Dan Schoen, to learn more about the details of the bill. Schoen, a police officer, paramedic from St. Paul Park, is serving his first term in the Minnesota House of Representatives. Thank you, Representative Schoen, for talking to us about your bill, House File 1090. Can you explain what this bill would do?
Well, House File 1090 deals with Minnesota Lottery is looking to install lottery dispensing units at gas pumps. And they have some test sites out there right now. We kind of came to a resolution is maybe we'll introduce a bill that says, that's fine. But if you're in Clare City, Minnesota, and you sell the lottery and you want one of these pumps, then you too have to, then the lottery has to install that for them as well, just as they would for a Holiday Station on Rice Street in St. Paul, where they might want to put it because of the volume. And this just simply says, hey, you know, if you're going to do it here, you got to be willing to do it everywhere for somebody that thinks they might want it. I myself am not a giant fan of ATM or lottery ticket sales right at the pump. I don't really want to pull in off the street when I really want to get gas and wait for somebody just to play the lottery. You know, and I don't know that this is going to create a huge lineup of people, but it just seems a little bit odd. You know, if we get the lottery up to 300 million, are people going to be in their cars and not want to get out and line up when, you know, we've all seen the video of the news where people are lined up inside the store to buy lottery tickets. Well, the difference for the store owner there is they get paid something like 3% commission on those sales, and at the pump they'd get paid 2.5%. And realize that there's not a human being conducting that transaction with the pump. But they also aren't selling gas if somebody's standing at the pump buying lottery tickets. But, you know, if this is a business opportunity that someone feels is good for St. Paul, it should be good for Willmar, it should be good for Duluth, it should be good for you know, small towns all over the state.
Have you been to any gas stations that have these electronic terminals for?
No, I haven't had the opportunity to stop by. No.
Do you know where any are?
I know that there's some in the metro, and I want to say there was something on Rice Street.
Funding for the Viking Stadium is a hot button issue. Would you be opposed at all to having a lottery game at one of these electronic terminals that would go to helping pay for the Viking Stadium?
If that's what we came up with, if there's a specific design, you know, the lottery was set up and the funding is a lot of natural resource things, you know, and that, you know, I don't want to necessarily try to take from one to give to another. And I think the lottery provides a very important source of revenue for outdoor type projects. And that would take a lot of discussion. And I won't say no, but I certainly won't say yes at the moment, because no matter what we do, it takes a lot of time to figure out and justify and understand what's right and what's wrong. Because if we all of a sudden have an inroad into this, to the lottery, and start taking from that funding source, where are we going to make it up for that? So can't say no, but I certainly wouldn't jump feet first and ready to go and support that full on quite yet.
Thank you, Representative Schoen, for talking to us about your bill, House File 1090. Let's track House File 1090 through the legislative process. It's had its introduction and first reading. It was referred to the Commerce and Consumer Protection, Finance, and Policy Committee. And Representative Jones says it's likely to go to some other committees before and if it is laid over for possible inclusion in an omnibus bill. You can learn more about these bills and others through our online news service, Session Daily. This nonpartisan news source employs a staff of professional writers, editors, and photographers that provide you with in-depth coverage of the Minnesota House of Representatives. You can also watch live coverage of committee and floor action on House TV. To see past bills featured on Starting Line, go to www.youtube.com/MNHouseInfo and click on the Starting Line playlist. And remember, thousands of bills get introduced every legislative session in Minnesota. All of them first have to cross the starting line.